Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up for quite a day today, and it is Wednesday, the 21st of September, 2022 at 6:15 p.m. Central Time. Now, before I go any further, if you like these videos I do them, at least give me a thumbs up if you would. It helps our ratings an awful lot. Okay, I had predicted that we would get between 75 and 100 basis point increase in the Fed funds rate. We got it. 75, I kept saying, go look at tapes. The outlier, maybe 25, 30% of the people thought 100 points. Fed didn't go that route. I also told you that the key to the market isn't going to be so much the rate hike size, is the dot plot. And that's what the market focused on. It also focused on what the Fed chair said in the press conference. Make a long story short, the market is looking this year, 2022, of at least another 100 to 125 basis points of hikes. It could be a 75 and a 50. It can be a 50 and a couple of whatever. They'll do their mix. That's what the 19 members that can vote on the dot plot think. Got that? That's how you look at it. The Fed keeps saying that they're bothered that the employment doesn't slip. And they keep looking at the JOLTS number, which he mentioned today, where there's almost 2 offerings for each eligible person to work. So there's a very strong labor market. And as I brought up to you time and time again, it's hard to get a deep recession, which I don't think we will get. But I think you're in a recession. I've made that very clear. And I know you'll tell me, well, Ira, it's not because of the employment number. There's more to it than that. That's schoolroom stuff. You know, just ask anybody. They'll tell you the pressures. I wrote yesterday and showed people rent as to how it's gone up from 2020 basically to right now, and the percent that it's making up now of inflation and how sticky it is. So between the employment, which is sticky, that's a number. You're not telling people I'm going to cut your wages, but what you are doing, company after company, they're cutting jobs. But as they cut them, if there's 2 jobs for each person being cut in JOLTS, those people are going to get another job. And I'll give you a secret. It might even be higher paying. I don't think the race is on any longer by employers that they have to race out and pay anything to get an employee. That part of it's over. But it's easy to, at least if you tell them what your salary was, to get it matched. That is what I'll bet it is, all right, if the company needs your particular skill. Now, what we have is the numbers come out, the market gets crazy today. If you were watching it, I was dizzy in my chair. If I went to the bathroom, if I went to get some water and bring it to my desk, I'm looking at it and I'm going, you're up 200, you're down 200. And this is how you were going in the Dow. Back and forth. Take a look at your charts. You're going to get blown away as to what it did. And late in the day, the market started to capitulate. And what I think happened is all the traders that had looked, and I even had mentioned it to my traders because it's fact, coming into today, more times than not, nearly, I think this year, just about every time we've had a Fed rate hike, the market, by the end of the noise in the market, ended up coming up and closing higher. It didn't today. Nothing works forever. So if it worked 4 times, now it's worked 80% of the time. You know, out of 5 times, it's worked 4 of 5. All right, whatever. I'm just giving you the idea. I don't believe in all that stuff to put money at risk. I think you always look for edges, but I have a saying, you hear me say it to you all the time. You don't stand on the train track with a bullet train running at you and you think you're going to be able to jump off in time. You can't do it. I want to wait for that steam train to come down the track because I can beat that one. And that's just normal trading. Do you understand the difference? I didn't think this was going to be a big report, and yet it had a big size reaction. Do I think the market overdid it? Yes. I think we're at a zone where the market, for whatever reason, is going to look at the Bollinger Band and try to bounce away from it now. That's what I think is going to happen. So as we take a look, you can see what's going on. You have gone from 42.81 to 37.85. That's a pretty big break in this market, right? So you're down, what, 9-10%, I guess, because if you take 10% of 42.81 is 420 points, take that away from it, yeah, you're in that region. That's all I care about. When I take a look at what we've done, we just made a lower low than we did today. And As you can see, the swing line has got a pattern of lower highs, lower lows, bearish, until you take out 39.36 and a quarter. The 18-day average had crossed back here underneath the 100, another bearish setup. It had met its goal prior to today, and then today's just the added gravy of that. But you always look at crossovers because they generally give you an idea that long-term traders are looking at those things. What else do you look at next? You go to the Bollinger Band. When you hit a Bollinger Band, that is, if you're embedded or not embedded in an area, money's going to come off the table. That's what I teach. It's what I believe. Are we embedded? Okay. Embedded means that you convert the slow stochastic, which is the momentum reading, into locking into a trend or saying, no, I'm oversold and I'm going to bounce. Now, it takes several days in a row of both numbers to be under 20. You cannot and do not count the day that you're in. So I don't count Thursday. I go to Wednesday, both numbers were under 20. I go to Tuesday, Did Monday have that? No. I said several days in a row at least. Therefore, you need today to keep both these numbers under 20. You're in the first hour and 20 minutes of trading. You're already into an area that's, number one, oversold. We don't know if it'll embed. And you're at the Bollinger Band. I'm expecting a bounce. Doesn't have to. I'm certainly not telling you to buy the market for the bounce. No. I'm saying that if it does embed, I'm going to be an aggressive short seller. Give me a bounce from it. If not, and I were short, if I were short, this is where I'd be taking money off the table, something. In the NASDAQ, what about here? You can't count today, so we'll just do another one of these exercises. On Wednesday, both numbers under 20. On Tuesday, both under 20, but both under 20 on Monday. So difference. Now, if you've taken my course, the key is, did the market take out yesterday's lows? It has, so I'm on the sidelines in terms of wanting to sell a rally. Yeah, I'm not going to go through it in the Dow. If you embed, I'm looking to sell rallies, not there yet. And in the Russell, you're certainly not embedded, so I think all shorts are coming off the market right here by traders. You'll go all shorts. Take the course. It's on the website under education at irapstein.com. In the VIX cash, look where you went up to and stopped again, the upper Bollinger Band. You don't have capitulation here in any manner. To get that, I think you got to be the 35 plus number. I keep mentioning that to you, which means this bear trend isn't over. Do I think in the stock indices the June lows will be hit? I do. They don't have to do it on this particular break, but I think that they will be hit. Do I think the market's going down dramatically from here through that number? No. I think it'll be a grind that the market works down on. Obviously, I would change my opinion if inflation gets super sticky, but I am of the camp that at some point we'll see it start easing up a little. As I just said, I don't think employers have to pay up crazy numbers anymore. I think the people that were able to take advantage of them, you did the right thing. I think the new guy coming out and getting laid off on a job, you don't have that edge in the marketplace. There's too many people being left off with great skills. It's company after company that's starting to do it now. As you take a look at the 30-year bond, caution. The market is flirting with losing the embedded reading. If it closes over 20, it'd be the first time you want to be out of your shorts. What's the market saying? The market is saying in this market, and possibly if you lose the embedded in the 10-year, that you have probably accomplished 80% of the goal of the Fed for the long-term end of the market. It's the short term that the market's playing. The 2-year note went over 4% today. I mean, that's about where inflation's running. I was watching Jeff Dunlock from Double Line. He's jumping up and down. He can't sit in his chair. And as he said, it's the first time in a decade that their phones are ringing off the hook. They're doing business like there's no tomorrow because they can lock in returns. If you mix some junk in there with it, as he said, you're beating the inflation number. He hasn't had that opportunity in a long time. I think he's a good tactician in the market. He's just in that part of the market that got beat up for a long period. In any case, I look at how the market is coming here. The question is, can it do that? Until it does it, the rallies will get sold. When it does it, professional traders, I think, will back away from the short side. In the dollar index, what do I teach you the first time you hit a Bollinger Band? You come out. Are you embedded? You are not. So you'll tell me, Boyer, you're going to leave all that money on the table. It's going up there. And I'll say, okay, we'll see. I don't think so. In the euro currency, do you ever go short underneath the Bollinger Band? No. Do you buy it under there? No. The momentum's down. You're oversold. The pressure went on this market for a lot of reasons. Think of what Miss Lagarde has to do now. She has to make a pretty rough decision. They're telling her, go big if you want to match everybody else. She's going to get pressure from the UK tomorrow. I think the UK is going to go at least 50 basis points. We'll see what they do. In the British pound, here you are at the Bollinger Band. Are you embedded? Let's take a look. Remember, you can't count the current day. But the day before, both numbers were under 20, both under 20 on Tuesday, both under 20 on Monday? No. So tomorrow determines, is it going to embed? Now, if it embeds, I'm like the Pied Piper. I lead my subscribers, and away we go with a bunch of sell orders as long as it stays embedded. We wait to see what's going to happen. I am in the ideal situation. I've had my traders, the longest period I remember in futures where I haven't put out a trade in like 5 business days. I'm sitting there coming off the New Zealand trade winners, waiting to pounce the market. I'm sure I'll have some losers. Who doesn't? Keep them under control. But now I'm in the position, I'm not hurt. My clients that are following me aren't hurt. We're sitting there ready to go. Mentally, that's a very big thing. Bitcoin, it follows the stock market. Now you're coming back down to these old lows. Is the market now going to be able to get under 17,880, the lower Bollinger Band? In the differential between Brent and WTI crude, okay, you're still over in that. And where did the market go? It's challenging resistance. Today had to be a bearish day for it. When you look at a stock market fall, and there'll be stock markets around the world that'll look what the U.S. did, and they'll fall probably overnight. That weighs on the crude. But this wave of that ends as fast as it starts, because we won't remember this, what the Fed speech was, what he said 3 days from now. We'll be looking at other data. We'll be moving on as this is. What bothers me is this market, you've got a supply crunch taking place. You need demand to come alive. And it's hard when you've got interest rates crushing economies right now. In addition, everybody's nervous about President Putin going wacko, calling up, conscripting now, as I call it, 300,000 reservists. I read a news story today that plane flights were booked out today. As soon as he did that, people were booking out to Turkey, other countries that are friendly to Russia, leaving the country. I can't blame them. I mean, think about this. A woman's looking at her husband. You're going to war there? No, we're leaving. And I can imagine that's it. Plus, the general population, they have been told one thing with the war. Now he's got to call up reservists. At what point do these people get that they created a war, that Putin is threatening the world with nuclear weapons? If a sham election happens, which it's going to, if the election results, which they'll take care of, will favor Russia, which it will, that if Ukraine attacks or the West attacks in any manner, whatever it is, Putin's magic finger on the nuclear weapon might push it. At some point, people are going to just say, we're going, and his own generals may not listen to the order to push the nuclear weapon. God forbid he said it. It's suicide for the world, but it's suicide for the Russian people. Not only our ballistics, think of everybody else's that'll be aimed at Russia if he launches one. It's really super scary. None of this had to happen. This man's a lunatic. It's that simple, a lunatic. So as I look at it, you can see where you're at with it, the resistance there. You're fighting to go into an uptrend in gasoline. Not a surprise. We thought the market would fight its battle there. I think the worst is over in gasoline prices in the 225 area on the daily chart. The weekly charts will tell us the story, and I'll share that with you over the weekend. In nat gas, we're waiting to see when that Freeport, Texas area terminal can open. We can start moving this out in the cold weather. What is tomorrow? Question, what is tomorrow? Fall. It's 6:25 or whatever in Chicago right now. It is pretty dark outside. We're losing 2.2 minutes and 47 seconds a day right through the end of this week, every day of sunlight. We have entered the change. The coolness will come in. In Chicago, we're in the 50s tonight. During the day, we're in the 70s and 80s, but the shift is happening around the country. I mention it because as that shift happens, I'll be throwing the switch sooner rather than later, calling on the natural gas to heat my house at certain hours if it gets to a certain temperature, right? So the demand will come back. Now, tomorrow, you're going to get the numbers for the cubic feet that they're looking for on the energy. We'll see what they get. I saw an early estimate of 104 billion cubic feet. We'll see what that brings to the marketplace, all right? But there's a lot there, and there's going to be a lot more I talk about in the morning, and let me explain why. In the morning, I'll have the benefit, I wake up at 4-ish. I'll have the benefit of seeing what Asia did with this data, Europe, and did we reverse some of what the damage we've done today and an early evening trade? Is the market grabbing and trying to support itself at these Bollinger Bands and the resistance at some of them? What's going on? The game is going to start fresh tomorrow. I know we have the UK. They're going to come out with their monetary policy. Japan will, but market widely expects Mr. Kroto will stick with what he's got. No real changes there. So we want to watch all that. But it's going to get exciting. I'm obviously, as you can see, revved up again because I've waited 5 days to be able to put something on. I cover 40 futures charts or more in the morning, almost 45 in the ETFs each and every morning. Charts are live as I'm recording them, and I am saying I want you to get out of the market. I want you to enter the market, do it as a market order, do it as a price order, place it here. I track everything that I do. And so I can talk about it the next morning with you. You decide, does that make sense or not? I'm not managing your money. I want to manage no one's money. I just want to be a market analyst. I'm happy doing that and obviously being a broker. Love doing that as well. I'm Ira Epstein. To find out more, all you got to do is go to our website. And for the research, go to the word research, or just take your cursor, put it right over my head. An icon will appear right up there. What do you do at that point? Click it. It'll take you right to that area. I'm Ira. You have a good day.